It was 7 years ago this year that the New York Yankees would ask and basically tell a former MVP third baseman it was time to hang it up. So the question that I pose to you now, baseball fans, is it time for them to do it again? What's going on, baseball fans? Jeremy Laracuente here for the Baseball Banter Broadcast. And as I said in the open, this question is in relation to Josh Donaldson. There's no doubt about it that Donaldson has not been playing the type of baseball that we've seen him perform over the last several years of his career. It's not even as good as it was when he first came up in the big leagues. And that's saying something. On this video, I'm going to examine a few reasons why it's time for the New York Yankees to once again bite the bullet, as they did with Aaron Hicks earlier, and designate Josh Donaldson for assignment. So first and foremost, as I alluded to already, they already asked a former MVP third baseman and basically told him it's time to hang it up. We're releasing you. They did it to Alex Rodriguez, who, in my opinion, was a much far greater player than Josh Donaldson ever was. And that's not a knock on Donaldson, because Donaldson has been a very good Major League Baseball player for a long time. But he's not that player now. We've been looking at it for 2 seasons now in New York, and it doesn't work. Now, is that to say that just like with Aaron Hicks, you get him out of New York and then he starts to play better? Sure. Do I think that somebody's going to take a flyer on Josh Donaldson the same way they did on Aaron Hicks? No. But regardless, it's not working for the New York Yankees. And sometimes you have to cut bait and realize, all right, cool, I made a wrong decision. It's time to pivot. It's time to move elsewhere. Time to look elsewhere. So we're going to get into kind of the numbers that are underlying this idea, this thought process in my mind about designating Josh Donaldson. Because the reality is if you're watching his at-bats each and every single night, there's nothing behind it. Yes, Donaldson would hit a home run in last night's game for the New York Yankees. Ironically enough, something that continues to happen and almost foreshadows the Yankee loss each and every time. The Yankees are 0-6 whenever Josh Donaldson hits a home run. So, Boone was asked about it on the Talking Yanks podcast, and he labeled it just a mere coincidence.
Do you know that every time Donaldson is homered, the team has lost? Do you think there's any correlation there?
That's coincidence.
We think so too.
And to be honest, it probably would fit the definition of a coincidence. However, when you're dealing with a player like Josh Donaldson, who, in my opinion, is far past his prime, there's a lot of underlying signs that his performance is just not what it's going to be. Those home runs that he's hit are more indicative of pitcher mistakes than Donaldson being able to put together a good at-bat. If you look on baseballreference.com and you take a look at Donaldson's numbers, and I'm just going to rattle off the numbers here really quickly. He's got a slash line this season of 132, 200 in OBP, and 441 slugging. His OPS plus, which a league average, a replacement level player, is 100. Donaldson is at a 72. Through the 2 seasons that he's been in New York, Donaldson is slashing 211, 295, and 383 with an OPS plus of 92. So below league average. When you look at his career, and mind you, when he first came up with the Oakland A's, he wasn't the same player that he was when he ended up getting traded to the Blue Jays, became an MVP. None of that same time frame, right? But even looking at his numbers in Oakland, which is double the time frame, he spent 4 years in Oakland. His OPS plus was 125. Donaldson, in his rookie season of 2012, would have an OPS plus of 91. And even then, he had a better OPS plus, 687 compared to 641 that he has now. This is the shell of a player that was once a high caliber player. Yes, Donaldson can still play solid defense at third base. But the reality is that the Yankees have a much better option sitting in the minor leagues in Oswald Peraza. Yes, there's going to be a lot of conversation and a lot of talk that is probably going to be focused, in my opinion, on Anthony Volpe, and it's not the right direction. I think that in calling up Oswald Peraza, you put him at third base every single day. We're already dealing with one banged up former top player in DJ LeMahieu, but DJ provides more versatility in my mind than does Donaldson, and therefore Donaldson is the move to make. The other thing about Josh Donaldson and designating him for assignment is that it would allow the Yankees to kind of take a look at the trade market if they don't want to necessarily go in-house, which I think at the way that this point the team is being run, it's in-house first. But let's say they want to venture through the trade market. In my opinion, by designating Josh Donaldson for assignment, you open up that avenue. In order for this team to really get back to the level we expected them to be at, there has to be a change. Obviously, the things with Aaron Judge are completely unknown at this time. And you can't rely on Judge alone to be able to carry this team the same way he did in 2022. We saw how that played out. Judge got tired in the postseason because he carried this team all season long on his back. And when Judge wasn't hitting, neither was the team. And we see that same thing happening now. Boone is clearly not going anywhere despite all of our clamoring for it. So how do you make a change that's going to resonate in the clubhouse? That's going to spark people to start feeling like, hey, I need to step it up here or something's going to happen to me. You do that by cutting ties with a player that is clearly long past his prime. Donaldson is the easy move to make. You DFA him. Nobody's going to pick him up. You're going to be responsible for the rest of his contract for this season anyway and the buyout for next year. So you were going to pay that regardless. Howe has already shown a willingness to pay the money to make somebody go away. It's time to do it again. You forced out a much greater player in Alex Rodriguez 7 years ago, who was facing similar deterioration in his talent and his ability at the plate. Now, obviously, the slight difference between A-Rod and Donaldson at this point in the time frame is that Donaldson still does play the field. A-Rod wasn't allowed to play the field by the end of 2016. But regardless, Donaldson is not providing you the offensive clout that you expected him to be. So it's time to make the decision, designate him for assignment, and call up Oswald Peraza. Make a trade. There needs to be something that happens with this team. Let's not even discuss the vacancy that has been left field. And we're getting good contributions from Billy McKinney and Jake Bowers. There's no doubt about it. It's not a knock on those guys, but those guys really aren't everyday players. The Yankees need to make a statement. They need to make a change. And the way to do that is by designating Josh Donaldson for assignment. But I want to hear from you. Let me know, Yankee fans, how you're feeling about everything that's been happening with this team. Your thoughts on my idea of designating Josh Donaldson and what the Yankees should do thereafter. Let me know this down in the comments or find me over on Twitter at banter_baseball, and we can keep the conversation rolling. Make sure you follow us on our other social media outlets on Instagram and TikTok at Baseball Banter Broadcast. Hit subscribe on this YouTube channel as we are continuing to try to build this baseball community. And most of our audience is not yet subscribed. So definitely hit that subscribe button down below and continue to join us as we bring you the latest news, notes, and my personal thoughts, theories, and opinions on this wonderful game of baseball. Peace.